Say hello to the Alfa Romeo Milano. This is the company's latest new model. It's a compact crossover and it's going to come both as an electric car and as a hybrid. Now, there's a lot to talk about, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly, so stay tuned because there's some great features on this car. First thing first, the shield. When you see this new shield, obviously it's a bit of a take on Alfa's most iconic, its signature grille, but this is a new look on it as well. So this is how the electric version is going to look. There's also a different type of shield as well that has a more kind of classical look to it as well. So depending on which version you get, it will have two different types of shields according to the specification. You get the 3x3 headlight design here as well. I think this looks really nice. I like the way it kind of frames the whole front of the car, gives it a very distinctive appearance up front as well. So this is a very strong design. Just really going to stand out, I think, when you see it on the road. Now we'll come around the side of the car a little bit more and it gives you a bit of a better idea of what the whole thing is like. So you've still got obviously some kind of crossover intentions. You've got a little bit of cladding around here, but there is some nice detail in there. It's not just a pure black plastic. You can see a few little flecks. This is obviously one of the higher spec versions as well. So big wheels, 20-inch wheels. These are a real kind of bit of a modern twist, a bit of a take on the old teledial wheels, which if you're a real Alfa fan, you'll know what they're like, but really nice. The standard car will come on 18s, but you can get up to 20s as well. And in this red paint, it really does look well with the contrasting black roof. You've got the Milano name here as well, contrasting black door mirrors. But around the side, I really like what they've done here. They've got pretty pronounced C-pillar. If you come right in, you can see the famous Alfa design there. This is kind of like a ribbed kind of sticker. You can feel my dirty fingerprints all over, but quite nice. And you've got the door handles put in there. We're going to show you the inside in just a moment. One other feature that's really probably the one thing that makes this car stand out a lot is what they call a truncated tail. Now, this kind of stretched out boot lid, the way it comes out, rather than coming all the way down and then back, it's a totally different design, bit of a new take on it. It is a nod to the old Alfa TZ. If you know your old Alfa Romeos, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's a little bit hard to see with this, but you can see then how the taillights go all the way around the back. Looks pretty good. I like the little black detail here. And again, the big spoiler, and it's got a rear wiper. How many crossovers these days don't get one of these? So well done, Alfa, for doing that. In the back, there's also a 400-litre boot space. I'll just get out of the way and you'll see now. Not too bad, actually, overall. 400 litres, plenty of space there. So you will be able to get all your various bits and pieces in, a little bit more storage under there as well. So they've done a pretty good job in that respect. Charging for the electric version is up to 100 kilowatt DC. That gives you around about 10 to 80% in about half an hour. It's also got 11 kilowatt AC. There's one really cool feature that is in this. When you open up the charge port in here, you've got this really kind of old school fuel cap. It's actually just a cover, and in there is your CCS charge port as well. So pretty neat, but kind of a nice idea that it has that. Now, the battery is a 54 kilowatt hour unit. It's got a range of 410 kilometers, and that drives the front wheels with a 156 horsepower electric motor. There is going to be a sportier Veloce version with around 240 horsepower, so that's still to be confirmed for some markets. There will also be a hybrid version. So as well as the electric, there's going to be a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine, 136 horsepower, drives the front wheels, and it will use 48 volt mild hybrid technology. Now on the inside, Alfa's done, if I'm honest, a really good job in here. Okay, it does share a few bits with the other Stellantis models, that's to be expected. But the design is actually really, really nice. So what have you got? Well, right in front of you, you've got this kind of the old telescope design for the instrument binnacles here. But within that, you've got a 10.25-inch display. It'll go through all the usual different views and things like that, but really nice how they kind of done this. There's a bit of lighting here around the side. Looks very, very cool, rather than just having a plain, boring screen. You've got some physical controls here on the steering wheel as well, nice and easy to use. There's a little bit of suede on the bottom as well as on the top. has a really nice feel to it, good quality. Then in the center console, you have a second 10.25-inch display here. Again, this goes through all the usual stuff. It's familiar to what we've seen. It's a good quality screen, reacts quite quickly, but it is angled around towards the drivers. Obviously, this is very much a driver's car. I am pleased to see that there's still physical buttons under here for all your temperature, your climate control, demisting your windows, volume control. That's quite nice as well. And then lower down than that, you have a wireless charging pad, and you still get a couple of USB charge ports as well. Then the center console, it is quite a slender center console here, but I like how they've obviously used a very familiar rocker cover. This is what's used in a lot of Stellantis products, but it works fine. But I kind of like how they've kind of designed this layout here, a little unit. You've got the start button right there. It's very much a driver's thing. The seats then as well, really nice seats. These are made by Seatbelts, very well renowned, respected seat maker. Very sporty looking. These are the sportiest looking seats you're probably going to get in any compact crossover. But you know what? There's actually a fair bit of comfort in there. It's not that bad actually. I do like how they've got these little holes. If you know your BMW M seats, you'll know where that idea came from. But it is quite nice, good bit of comfort, and it's the material quality which really stands out in here. You know, there's a lot of nice detail with all the stitching. You've got the Alfa logo here as well, which is quite nice, and it's all throughout. You know, the materials are actually pretty good. But there's one thing I really like, and it's these vents. Look at this, very cool. It's the old cloverleaf design, bit of lighting in it, and it's got the Alfa logo in there as well. Very nice little detail, and it's really, that kind of sums up what the inside of this car is like. There's just a lot of nice detail in here. It could just be a sea of boring black plastic, but they've actually spent a bit of time. They put some ambient lighting in, they put some nice materials on all the bits that you're normally going to touch, and it's all the better for it. Now, let's have a look in the back seats. Now in the back, it's actually pretty good in here. Okay, this seat is actually a little bit further back than I would normally have it if I was sitting behind me. But remember those cutouts that I told you about in the seat? Well, actually perfect for where my legs go. So as well as having a little bit of extra knee room here, if you really want, you might be susceptible to people sticking their hands through and giving you a little tickle when you're driving, but it isn't bad. Now, there are 3 seat belts in here, but if I'm honest, this is still very much space for 2 adults rather than 3 adults. You do have a little bit of a hump in the middle there, a little transmission hump, so that does eat into some of the leg room or some of the foot room that you're going to have. And you do have this center console that extends a little bit further back. There is a USB-C charge port in here as well, so that's not too bad that you have that, but also then you don't have any vents, which is kind of a common real feature in cars in this segment, to not have aircon vents in the back. But the upside is you do actually have a very good amount of headroom. Now, I'm of relatively average height, so I'm about 5'9", but if I'm sitting right upright, I've still got a couple of inches of headroom there, which is pretty good because they haven't made this a very coupe-like car, so it means you do have a little bit more headroom. And also the windows are a pretty decent size and they're not too high up, so that means that any smaller kids sitting in here, they're still going to be able to have a little bit of a view out, which means they're less likely to have a little bit of a dicky tummy for some travel sickness. So that's our first look around the new Alfa Romeo Milano. We'd love to know what you think about it, so tell us in the comments below what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to know more about it, head over to the website. It's CompleteCar.ie. You'll find it linked in the description below, and it's a great resource for finding your next new car. Thanks for watching.